I now call this regular meeting of the Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. The time is now 6:04 p.m. Mrs. Guy, was the meeting properly posted?
Yes, it was.
Do we have a quorum?
We do.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Bollinger for opening exercises.
All right, good evening, President Campisi, Board of Trustees, and Dr. O'Brien. The opening exercises for this evening's board meeting will be provided by students from R.S. Sterling High School. The pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags will be recited by Vasti Gutierrez, who's the band president, and also Aram Iraheta, who's the assistant drum major. First, we will begin the opening ceremonies with a prayer led by Mr. Howard Sampson. So at this time, everyone please rise for prayer and remain standing for the pledges.
Father, we are here tonight to make decisions that are based upon our school district that we are really proud of. Father, I thank you for all the individuals that made it here tonight. Father, I ask you to bless them going back wherever they came from. Father, bless each and every one of us tonight. We have one important factor that we need to understand. We must pray in order for things to go the way we want them to go. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. This evening we have a special treat. We have a saxophone quartet from Sterling High School. The following students will be performing the piece entitled Tico Tico. All right, so we have Omar Navarro on the soprano sax. We have Kayla Vialta on the alto sax, Seth Velasquez on the tenor sax, and then we have Carol Gomez on the baritone saxophone. The students are under the direction of band director Brad Como and principal Mr. Nathan Chaddock. So you take it away.
Who did not visualize a sparrow dancing in cornmeal just now? I did.
Okay, thank y'all so much. That was wonderful. Mr. Campisi, I will now turn the meeting back over to you for citizens' participation.
Thank you, Dr. Bollinger. Are there any parents of these students that just performed here in the audience with us tonight? If you would, stand up. And if not, let's recognize them anyway. I want to welcome everyone here to our meeting tonight. For those that join us on board meeting night regularly, you'll notice that the agenda is a little bit different tonight than it usually is. We are complying with state law that now says that citizens' comments will come at the very beginning of the meeting, so that's going to take place next. And then the regular agenda that we're used to will follow after that. So with that being said, we'll move on to item number 3, citizens' participation. Citizens' participation information and requirements. Citizens' participation is the time that the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. General public comment is limited to no more than 30 minutes per meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to open session items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited in his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes, which can be further limited or reduced by the presiding officer, and that he or she should respect confidentiality concerns and refrain from attacking the personal character of any individual student, staff member, or board member in addressing concerns or comments. Pursuant to state law and board policy BE legal, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or decision on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda of a future meeting. With that being said, everyone that signed up before the 6 p.m. deadline will be allowed to speak tonight. We have, beginning with Mr. Nick Rice, if you will come to the podium and I'll share a little bit of the format. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Mrs. Guy, our secretary, will keep time. When you are down to 1 minute, Mrs. Guy will alert you by saying 1 minute. Continue to speak, and then Mrs. Guy will stop you at the 3-minute mark. With that, your time will begin when you start speaking. Every speaker is asked to provide their name and the topic they are speaking on. Mr. Rice, the floor is yours.
All right, good evening, members of the board. I'm Nick Rice. I'm here on item 7G. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to discuss the standards we expect rather than any one person from those entrusted with one of the most important roles in our community, educating our children. As someone who's a product of this school district, I know firsthand the impact of amazing teachers. I was shaped by educators who modeled integrity, empathy, and professionalism, and I believe our students today deserve nothing less. Teaching is built on trust. Parents send their kids to school believing that they will be guided, supported, and inspired. When that trust is broken, even by the words or actions of one person, it shakes confidence in the entire profession. We teach our children freedom of speech, but we also teach that freedom comes with responsibility. Educators' words carry weight, and when that trust is violated, it affects not just the individual, but the profession and the community. Most teachers are dedicated, decent, and hardworking people who give it their all every single day. They deserve our respect and support. But behavior that falls far below professional standards cannot be excused. It undermines everything we stand for. When an educator publicly mocks tragedy or promotes division, it sends the wrong message to students, parents, and the community. Schools should be places of learning, safety, and encouragement, not places where families have to wonder whether adults are modeling the values that we can be proud of. We owe it to our students, our community, and the many educators who honor their calling every day to make clear that professionalism and respect are not optional. They're essential. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to keeping our schools strong and trustworthy.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Our second speaker is Brandon Terry. Again, Mr. Terry, please introduce yourself, the topic you're speaking on, and the time will begin once you start speaking.
My name is Brandon Terry, and I'm here to speak also on 7G. I also spoke at the last board meeting, basically calling out our hate speech going unaddressed. Board members 5 years ago calling our citizens racist and no one doing anything about it. Then here we are now, more hate speech, and what are we going to do about it? Tonight we have an opportunity to do the right thing, finally have some accountability, and we have to deal with this. We can't just think it's going to go away. It's not. And our teachers should be held to a higher standard. It's in their contract. They know what's in the contract. They violated it. And not only should they be terminated, there needs to be a do not hire list. The other districts around us took action, and their rejects that did wrong should not end up in Goose Creek, and ours should not end up in Klein. It's very important. And we're going to keep dealing with this. Again, we had stuff go on 5 years ago. We've had stuff just in the last few months where our citizens, again, were called racist. Complete lies, and no one calls them on it. And with technology now, if you Google it, all of a sudden that becomes fact. It's not. And it's each of our duties as Batonians to call it out when we hear it and see it. Again, we're going to keep dealing with this stuff on and on. And when the teacher enters the building, their personal agendas, their personal politics, their personal pronouns need to stay at home and out of the classroom. According to our test scores, we need every minute focused on core subjects and not on anyone's personal agendas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. Our third speaker is Patrick Prudhomme. The microphone is yours, sir.
My name is Patrick Prudhomme, and I'm here to speak on agenda item 7G. I am a proud graduate of GCCISD, a conservative influencer, and someone who personally attended the memorial service of Charlie Kirk yesterday. I stood in a room with over 70,000 Americans mourning a man who dedicated his life to standing boldly for truth, freedom, and Christ. Charlie gave his life to reaching young people like me, inspiring us to lead and to never bow to the mob. And now there are educators who call his death karma. Let me be very clear. This has nothing to do with free speech and everything to do with hatred. It's a disgrace, and it has no place in a Goose Creek classroom. If someone can openly celebrate the death of a man who simply had conservative conversation, then how can any conservative student in the classroom expect fair treatment? How can any parent trust that their child will be graded or guided without a bias? When an educator thinks it's funny that a man so many admired is assassinated, the truth is they can't. Now let's be honest about what fuels this situation. This is not just someone's poor judgment. This comes from years of false claims from the left wing smearing conservatives as racist, sexist, Nazis, and enemies of democracy. That constant drumbeat created a climate where it is acceptable to dehumanize us, to treat me and many in this building not as neighbors, but as villains that should be punished. And when you do that, when people are stripped of their humanity and dignity, it makes it easy for instructors to believe that celebrating murder isn't cruel, but justified. That is dangerous. That is how political violence is normalized. That is how you end up with young conservatives like myself, silenced, bullied, or worse, slain. And make no mistake, if the roles were reversed, if someone had done this to someone on the left, this room would be filled with the media and cameras. Today, this board has a decision to make. You can either stand up for decency, respect, and the safety of every student, or you can look the other way and prove to parents, students, and graduates like me that hate is acceptable so long as it's pointed at the right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perdone. Our next speaker is Mike Wolf.
Excuse me. Dear board members, my name is Mike Wolf. I'm speaking tonight on agenda item 7G. As a lifelong resident of Harris County and a native Texan, I speak with you tonight with a heavy heart. Charlie Kirk was a friend of mine. I've got his personal cell phone number saved in my phone. I first met Charlie in 2018 during my second elected 6-year term as a trustee for the Harris County Department of Education. I was horrified on September 10th when I learned of the assassination of Charlie. It hit me personally like a ton of bricks. Assassination is not something to be celebrated. It's not something that anyone employed by any form of American government should be celebrating. As a former school trustee, like each of you are trustees, and as a former teacher, I can tell you that the rules, regulations, and laws that govern the TEA must be followed. Each teacher who has celebrated the cold-blooded assassination of anyone, including Charlie Kirk, must be terminated and placed on the TEA's do not hire list. Two of my ancestors, Anthony Wolf and David Crockett, fought and died in defense of Texas independence at the Alamo. Charlie Kirk is a Christian martyr for freedom, just as our Alamo defenders were also martyrs for freedom. Please do the right and legal thing tonight and fire the offending teachers and place each of them on the DEA's do not hire list. Do not make a mockery of our Alamo defenders or of Charlie, who all died for our freedoms. We are all Charlie Kirk in one sense or another. You and me both. I ask that you make this our turning point and make Goose Creek ISD great for all people, including everyone here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Our next speaker is Eddie Pequino. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Thank you, sir. The microphone is yours. Please start with your name and the subject you're speaking on.
Eddie Pequeno speaking for 7G. Also, it seems to be like a very popular and important thing to speak about today. I think we should not fire anybody for speaking up and saying their minds. Most especially because what was said was in no way controversial. It was questions. Think about what was actually said here, okay? Not any derogatory statements. These were real, thoughtful questions. And if we're going to fire teachers for speaking their mind, and in my opinion, should have spoken up a little bit more than just these statements. But when you fire people, teachers especially, for speaking up, that sends a very chilling effect throughout, not just here, but throughout the nation, right? We're supposed to be a democracy, When I came up here, on that screen, it had things for the students, and one of the things was critical thinking. Okay, so are we thinking critically today? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is an important decision, and it will reverberate. Okay. Whether you think Charlie Kirk was a racist, a fascist, or any of that stuff, whether you think he's a white supremacist or not, okay? That's your opinion.
1 minute.
But whatever you think, okay, there are white supremacists who think Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist. There's a reason for that. Please think about it. Do you want Baytown to go backwards? Or do you want Baytown to go forwards? Right? That's really what's at stake here. And I'm asking you to please don't do this. Don't fire anybody for this, especially with these mild statements. Not even, anything controversial. So let's move Baytown forward, progressing in the right direction, not back to the racist things that we had in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pequeno. Before we move on to our next speaker, I would ask that the audience maintain decorum while the speaker is speaking. Certainly applause after the speaker is fine with me, but I ask that you maintain decorum to allow each speaker their full amount of time. Our next speaker is Joseph Fallon.
Good afternoon, board. My name is Joseph Allen. I'm going to be specifically speaking on 7G. It's wild that we even have to talk about this after other school districts made decisive action and fired it. And it's amazing that after years and years and years of conservatives being censored, including the sitting president banned off social media, that now everybody wants to be a champion of free speech. Whenever the argument was, you're not going to jail for your speech, you're just losing your job. And whenever you have a statement that incites or encourages violence is utterly insane. Political extremism has no place in our classroom. Political extremism has no place in the school board or school district or in public education. I mean, I'm sure y'all know why everybody's here. I can't say it enough. Encouraging violence is not okay. If you would have said anything else, if you would have lied and called him a racist or a fascist or a white supremacist, that's not what we're here about. We're here about encouraging violence in our classrooms. That is not okay. And I hope everybody here can at least agree that calling to or encouraging violence is wrong and we should not be doing that. I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon. Our next speaker is Tracy Wells. Please come forward.
Hello, my name is Tracy Wells. I have lived, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to say what I'm here about. I'm just here as a concerned citizen. It's not about anything specific on the docket or the agenda. Okay, I've lived in Baytown for a long time, and I have a senior and a sophomore that attend Sterling High School, and they have been in the Goose Creek School District for all of their school years. I would like to thank the board for hearing me, and I'm here today to urge the district to send Alice Henriksen back to the classroom, her dance studio. I have personally known Ms. Henriksen for over 20 years, and in this amount of time, which is almost about the same amount of time she has been at Lee High School, I've seen her spend her blood, sweat, and tears, and any extra energy she can muster up to create, build, and make the Lee celebrities and the JV Bells dance programs into the remarkable programs that they are today. As a friend, we've gone on several vacations together over the years, and it never fails. She either has to come late or leave early because of her commitment and dedication to her job and to all the sacrifice that it demands of her. Outside of football season, it seems she's always attending competitions, working on choreography, or holding some kind of tryouts. As a parent with children in Goose Creek, I can completely appreciate the structure and discipline that her program requires of her students, and I can also appreciate the friendship and fellowship it has encouraged and harbored throughout the years for the students. As a member of this community, I've had the opportunity to meet some of her former celebrities that are now adults, and I'm always amazed at how many of them have expressed how important her program was to them during their teen years and how it have helped pave the way for them to become successful adults.
1 minute.
Ms. Hendrickson is a true asset to Lee High School, the Goose Creek School District, and the community of Baytown. I know for sure that the place where she can do the most good in this world is at her post as the director of Lee High School Celebrities and JV Bells. And since I have the floor, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Como and Mr. Bravo at Sterling High School, the band directors. They're also teaching my kid a thing or two. So it does take a village, and I hope you realize that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. Our next speaker is Travis Major. Please come to the microphone.
Travis Michael Major, 7G. Just some historic quotes. If I'm dealing with someone in customer service who's a moronic woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence? All right, that's option A. If I'm dealing with someone in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence? That's option B. If I'm dealing with someone in customer service who's a moronic white woman, I wonder if she's there because of her excellence. Option C. Okay, so multiple choice test on historic quotes. The correct answer is B, and that's the Charlie Kirk Show, 3 January 2024. Another multiple choice on historic quote. If I see a white pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. That's option A. If I see a woman pilot, boy, I'm going to be like, I hope she's qualified. That's option B. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. That's option C. I think I got that messed up. But the correct quote is, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. That's Charlie Kirk Show, 23 January 24. And this one here is happening all the time in America. Prowling whites go around for fun to target black people. That's a fact. All right, option A. Happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun to target white people. That's option B. Happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun. Prowling Mexicans go around for fun to target white people and black people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. Option C. The correct quote is, happening all the time in urban America, prowling blacks go around for fun to target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. Charlie Kirk Show, 19 May 2023. Last one. Large dedicated Christian areas are a threat to America. Option A. Large dedicated Jewish areas are a threat to America. Option B. Large dedicated Islamic areas are a threat to America. Option C. The correct quote is, large dedicated Islamic areas are a threat to America. The Charlie Kirk Show, 30 April 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Major. Our next speaker is Troy Whiteneck.
I want to talk about what I've seen Charlie Kirk say.
Please introduce yourself, sir.
What?
Please introduce yourself.
My name's Troy Whiteneck. I want to talk about what I've seen Charlie Kirk say. He promoted free speech. He strongly promoted free speech to the people that disagreed with him. But apparently, Briscoe Cain, Leo Terry Wilson, and his supporters didn't get that memo. I feel like the school board is being bullied into bullying a teacher. Her post was not in a classroom. And now I'd like to say something about violence. Her post did not incite or promote violence. Charlie Kirk said that a few gun deaths is a small price to pay for the Second Amendment. Now, I don't know if he was talking about the children of Uvalde, but I don't think the children of Uvalde were a small price to pay. It was a large price. And were they a small price to pay for Charlie Kirk's assassin to enjoy his Second Amendment rights? You fire this teacher, you're losing your credibility and your decency if you ever had any. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whiteneck. Our next speaker is Chuck Cruz. The microphone is yours, sir.
Howdy, y'all. My name's Chuck Cruz, C-R-E-W-S, not like Ted. I am a resident of Baytown for almost 20 years now. I am here to speak on 7G. I would like to start off with some direct quotes that you can go find anytime you like. September 12th, 2019, Briscoe Cain. My AR is ready for you, Robert Francis. April 5th, 2023. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. Charlie Kirk, Turning Point CEO. September 21st, 2025. President Donald J. Trump. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. These are leaders that we are supposed to be looking up to. That's insanity. These are direct, explicit calls for violence from the right. And constantly, when the left says, gee, that's bad, we shouldn't do that, the right says, don't suppress my free speech. I can say whatever I want. You cannot be a leader and call for violence. And as an aside, it is really, really telling about how some people were raised that they don't understand the difference between mocking the death of an evil person and celebrating the death of an evil person. If you do not understand the difference between mocking and celebration, you must have had a terrible childhood.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Before I move on, Ms. Garcia, have you turned in all those that signed up before 6 p.m.? Thank you. Our next speaker is, oh, I'm going to mess this one up, Raquel. A-M-E-G-U-I-N. I don't want to mess that up. If you would introduce us, and I will pay attention. The microphone's yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raquel Araguen, and I'm here to speak on agenda item 7G. Tonight, I have the honor of speaking about someone who has been the heart of the Lee High School drill team and an unforgettable part of my high school experience. My former teacher, Coach Ms. Hendrickson. For the 4 years I was a part of the team, she was more than just a teacher. She was a role model and a second parent to many of us. She pushed us to be our very best, not only as dancers and performers, but also as young adults preparing to step into the world. What stands out the most about her is her dedication. She never gave up on us, not during long practices, not when we felt discouraged, not even when things didn't go as planned. She taught us that discipline, teamwork, and hard work are the foundations of success. Every routine we performed carried the lessons she instilled in us: precision, passion, and pride. Another quality that made her so special was her fairness. She treated each of us equally with respect and kindness, no matter who we were. She created the environment where every voice mattered, every team member felt valued. She never let personal opinions or outside influence affect the way she guided us. Instead, she focused on bringing us together, helping us grow, reminding us what united us was always stronger than what could divide us. Beyond the counts, formations, and endless rehearsals, she gave us something much more valuable: confidence. She reminded us that we were capable of more than we thought, and she believed in us until we learned to believe in ourselves. Those 4 years were filled with unforgettable experiences, from early morning practices to late night competitions, from bus rides full of laughter to the quiet talks when we needed encouragement. Through it all, she was there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Englund. Our next speaker is McKinley Brady. Please come to the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is McKinley Brady, and my topic today is to put Alice Hendrickson back into her classroom. From the very moment I stepped into the dance room, her support and love were never something I had to question. As a teenager navigating some of the most pivotal years of my life, her consistent presence, guidance, and compassion provided a sense of stability and belonging I didn't know I needed. She wasn't just a director, she was a safe haven. This is the same woman who came to watch my high school plays at Lee High School, the same woman who, during one of the most hardest moments of my life, when my mother was hospitalized with COVID and pneumonia, pulled me aside, looked me in my eye, and gently asked me what was going on. I broke in that moment, but she held a space for me. She didn't rush to fix anything. She simply let me know, I'm here for you, and acknowledged the weight I was carrying, and that's just who she was. When I organized a fundraiser for our theater department with little support, a lot of pressure, she was the one who reminded me to breathe. She saw a fire in me, but also recognized when I needed to pause. She advocated not just for my goals, but for my well-being. She's a woman who made every dancer feel seen and respected, taking the time to ask how far in advance we needed notice for a hairstyle requirement before competitions, because she understood and honored the differences in our background, cultures, and hair types. That may seem small to some, but to us, it meant everything. She welcomed male dancers onto a celebrity's team without hesitation or bias. No teenage boy would have the confidence to audition for a drill team filled with girls. Unless they felt safe and supported and under the leadership, they did. She's the one who recommended me for the opportunity to perform with Beyonce on Christmas, an unforgettable moment I owe a large part to her belief in me. When our team faced rumors and discomfort surrounding a competing school, she didn't ignore it. She addressed it with grace, telling us to smile, hold our heads high, and reminded us that she would never place us in any harm's way.
1 minute.
Her leadership wasn't just about routines, it was about character, integrity, and protection. She has little kids in community looking up to her team, wanting to be a part of what she built, not just because they love dance, but because of the values and energy she instills in everything and everyone around her. Students run to her, and not because they have to, but because she is home. And while I may not have said all this to her directly, I want to make it known now, her impact on my life and even others, now and then, cannot be overstated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brady. And with that, that concludes our citizens' participation. I want to thank the audience. No matter what side you're on and what you're speaking on, we're respectful to each other. That means a lot to me, and it also shows what our community is truly about. So thank you for that. We will now move on to recognitions and acknowledgements.
Okay, so we will start the recognition and acknowledgement portion. First of all, we're going to start off with Dr. Ray Levan, Director of Fine Arts. He'll come up and present a Fine Arts recognition. So I'll turn the mic over to him at this time.
Good evening, Dr. O'Brien, Board of Trustees. It is my great pleasure to stand in front of you this evening to acknowledge an amazing achievement. The Ross S. Sterling Band has achieved the distinction of being named a TMEA State Honor Band semi-finalist for the 2024-2025 school year. This prestigious recognition is one of the highest honors for a band program in the state of Texas, reflecting not only outstanding student performance, but also the dedication and leadership of its directors. The band is under the direction of the head band director, Mr. Brad Como. You won't be able to miss him, I promise you. There he is. The assistant band director, Mr. Brandon Bravo. The percussion director at the time was Mr. Brent Gibson, and the current percussion director is Miss Jordan Cutler. This honor is a testament to the students' hard work, the director's vision, and the support of the Ross S. Sterling community. It highlights the excellence of fine arts education in Goose Creek CISD and serves as an inspiration to our entire district. Please give these fantastic educators a big round of applause.
All right, for our next recognition, we have Miss Leah Miller, Director of Career and Technology Education, to come up and present some CTE awards.
Good evening, President Campisi, board members, and Dr. O'Brien. Tonight, the Career and Technical Education Department is proud to recognize an outstanding group of students and educators who have achieved superior honors at their respective national competitions in the area of Texas Association of Future Educators and the Technology Student Association. These exceptional students not only demonstrated academic and technical excellence, but they also showcased leadership, teamwork, and innovation at the national level. Let's begin by recognizing our Taffy winner from Sterling High School. Please join me in congratulating senior Marissa Gonzalez. She placed first in public speaking at the national conference. She is led by advisor Miss Alicia Tate. Next, we honor our TSA winners at Goose Creek Memorial High School, the data science team consisting of senior Abel Garza, senior Ayush Kora, and senior Kathy Singh placed 6th in the nation. This team is led by advisor Ms. Shonda James. Lastly, I would like to recognize Ms. Shonda James with the CTSO Advisor of Excellence Award for receiving the prestigious Texas State Technology Student Association Advisor of the Year, advancing to the national level. At the national competition, she was selected as the National Technology Student Association Advisor of the Year. This honor reflects her exceptional dedication to student success, outstanding leadership, and unwavering commitment to advancing career and technical education. Ms. James's mentorship and guidance have been instrumental in preparing our students for success at both state and national levels. Congratulations.
All right, our third recognition, we have Ms. Brooke Bingham, our HR coordinator, and myself to recognize our Grow Your Own Clinical Intern Teacher Giants. And so the Human Resources Department would like to recognize the following clinical student teachers for successful completion of their internship and employment as full-time teachers in Goose Creek CISD. We are proud of their success and the fact that we are able to grow our own clinical teacher giants. We would like to thank our Board of Trustees, our superintendent, university partners, campus principals, and administrators throughout the district for supporting this initiative. These teachers completed the Grow Your Own Clinical Teacher program in spring of 2025 and are now teaching across our district for the 25-26 school year. In attendance this evening are the following teachers, so please join me in congratulating them as they come forward. And we'll have a certificate and a picture for each one of them. Starting off with Petra Valencia Aon, 4th grade teacher at Clark Elementary. We have Adelaide Martinez, 5th grade dual language teacher at Carver Elementary. Next we have Kristen Umezakeli, our 4th grade teacher at Clark Elementary. Amber Kelly, math teacher at Sterling High School. Bethany Hennett, floral design teacher at Highlands Junior School. And Julie Alvarez, 2nd grade teacher at Asheville Smith Elementary. All right, let's give them all a hand one more time. We also want to recognize the following teachers who cannot be with us tonight. Emily McFall is an ELAR teacher at Sterling. Annabelle Nash is a 2nd grade teacher at San Jacinto Elementary. Joanna Singh is a kindergarten teacher at Carver Elementary. Haley Morse, math teacher at Sterling High School. And Abigail Baca, 3rd grade teacher at Victoria Walker Elementary. Once again, we're incredibly proud of each of these teachers and grateful to have them serving our students here at Goose Creek CISD. Okay, we have one more recognition tonight. It will be presented by Miss Amanda Kennington, our coordinator of Healthy Community Schools.
Good evening, Dr. O'Brien, President Campese, and members of the board. It is with great pride and excitement that we gather here today to celebrate a tremendous honor as the Healthier Generation has named 13 of our campuses as one of America's healthiest schools for 2025. The annual recognition program honors schools for their key role that they play in advancing the health and well-being of students, staff, and families. Schools submit proof of implementation of best practices in up to 9 topic categories, including strengthening social-emotional health and learning, cultivating staff well-being, increased family and community engagement, improving nutrition and food access, implementing local school wellness policies, bolstering physical education and activity, enriching health education, promoting tobacco-free schools, and supporting school health services. A school that meets the application criteria for all 9 areas receives an all-star awardee distinction. Let's take a moment to recognize each of the 13 campuses, their school health committees that have each implemented best practices, policies, and to the overall well-being of our school communities in one or more of these areas. Ms. Rumpfeld.
Thank you, Ms. Kennington. As your campus is called upon, please come forward to receive your award banner and photograph. George W. Carver awarded in 1 category, led by champion Michelle Hayes, Principal Erica Smith. Congratulations. Stephen F. Austin Elementary awarded in 1 category, led by champion Dalila Carrillo and Principal Heather Alarcon. San Jacinto Elementary awarded in 2 categories, led by champion Kristen Reyes and Sarah Serrano, Principal Mark Gorena. Congratulations. Dr. Johnny T. Clark Elementary awarded in 3 categories, led by champion Joe McGrew, Principal Kimberly Scheidt. Alamo Elementary awarded in 4 categories, led by champion Amanda Lucas, Principal Salinas Rivera. Congratulations. Ashbel Smith Elementary awarded in 4 categories, led by champion Cynthia Martinez and Principal Lacey Gordon. Congratulations. Highlands Elementary awarded in 4 categories, led by champion Joel Kuntz, Principal Blanca Capetillo. Congratulations. Lorenza de Zavala awarded in 4 categories, led by champion Angela Rowland, Principal Miss Abbott. Dr. Antonio Banuelos Elementary awarded in 6 categories, led by champions Justin Capetillo and Principal Erica Box. Jesse Lee Pumphrey Elementary awarded in 6 categories, led by champion Jennifer Starr, Principal Renee Meyer. Where? Say it again. Come here. Point Alternative School awarded in 6 categories, led by champion Mandy Whitaker, Principal William Kimball. Congratulations. Impact Early College High School awarded in 8 categories, led by champion Myra White and Principal Laura Reyes. Last but certainly not least, we are proud to share that Harlem Elementary, led by champion Sherry Young and Principal Betty Baca, are awarded in all 9 categories. Harlem is one of only 168 schools in the nation that has received All-Star Awardee distinction. Amazing. Let's give a hand to all the award-winning campuses. Your hard work and commitment to creating healthier learning environments are truly inspiring. Thank you. And thank you, Amanda Kennington, for your leadership on this.
Okay, and that does conclude our awards and recognitions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bollinger. We'll move on to approval of minutes. Find my spot. Item 5 on the agenda.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the September 8th meeting.
Let me back up and introduce it just a minute. It is the minutes for the September 8th, 2025 regular board meeting. Now I'll entertain your motion.
I'll move to approve. A second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Ms. Barat-Timms to approve the September 8th regular board meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by a show of hands. It's unanimous. Motion passes. We'll move on to item 6 of the agenda, discussion items. We'll start with Superintendent report. Dr. O'Brien, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Yes, Mr. President, we'll first bring up our superintendent report for early childhood and library update. We'll have our presenters introduce themselves as they begin their presentation.
If one of y'all would grab the microphone off of the podium on your right there and bring it to the table with you. Thank you.
Just be sure that your microphone is turned on. It has a green ring if it's on. It has a red ring if it's turned off. And be sure and hold it close enough to your mouth so that the audience can hear your comments in your presentation tonight. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, President Campisi, Dr. O'Brien, and board members. We are here to give you an early childhood update. And we have with us Ms. Lackey, coordinator for early childhood, Ms. Escobar, one of our brain coaches, and Ms. Bacias, also a brain coach.
So thank you again for having us tonight. We want to talk about our model for our early childhood programs because we're developing both the cognitive and social emotional skills through our balanced program because we know that 90% of a child's brain is fully developed before the age of 5, and the brain is the only organ that is not fully developed at birth. So it's really interesting. There's 2,000 days between birth and the day they start kindergarten. 170 of those are spent in pre-K. So during those 170 days with our 700 plus students, we're working on building executive functioning and mastering our early pre-K guidelines through left brain, right brain, movement, and family style dining.
Good evening.
In our early learning academies, our left brain classrooms are designed to help our youngest learners build the foundational skills they need for future academic success. In these classrooms, we focus on developing students' executive function skills like planning, organizing, and self-regulation, as well as their focus and concentration. Through structured, teacher-guided activities and stations, children practice early literacy, math, and problem-solving skills while also learning how to follow routines and work independently. This approach lays a strong foundation for learning by helping students strengthen their attention, persistence, and self-control, which are critical skills for long-term success in school and beyond.
While our left brain classrooms build focus, executive function, and foundational academics, our right brain classrooms nurture the creative and emotional side of learning while building executive functioning skills. In these classrooms, students build skills in communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking through hands-on activities, guided play, and movement-rich experiences. They explore art, music, storytelling, dramatic play, and sensory activities that encourage imagination and problem solving, such as conducting experiments to discover germs like these young scientists were doing in the Marvelous Me classroom. This approach supports children's social emotional development, helping them build confidence, empathy, and the ability to work with others. These skills are essential for building well-rounded learners who are ready to thrive in all areas of school and life.
In addition to our left and right brain classrooms, our movement classrooms play a vital role in our early learning academies. In movement, students work on developing their executive functioning skills like self-control, working memory, and flexible thinking through physical activity. We focus on helping children make their mind and body work together by practicing balance, coordination, and spatial awareness. Students also learn about healthy habits and the importance of staying active. Movement is much more than traditional PE. It's a carefully designed experience that strengthens the brain and body connection, setting children up for success in all areas of learning.
We believe in fostering a nurturing environment that extends beyond academics to everyday life skills. One way we do this is through family-style dining during every meal. This means our students actively participate by dining during every meal, by setting the table, serving themselves after everyone is seated, and waiting to eat until everyone has their food. They remain seated until everyone finishes, just like at home. An adult joins each table to simulate home dining experiences. Family-style dining not only reinforces classroom instruction and promotes healthy habits, but also builds executive functioning skills. Meals are served in bowls and trays with utensils that meet the nutrition guidelines of the National School Lunch Program for Pre-K. We also emphasize directionality by passing food to the right, supporting early reading skills. These routines build independence, responsibility, and fine motor skills, while also supporting social emotional growth as students practice polite conversation, turn-taking, and relationship building.
We're also very fortunate that we can bring the field trips to our students. So we have community outreach that still comes every month to all 4 centers. Especially, we appreciate people such as our Goose Creek Alumni of the Year, Dr. Wendy Krause, the owner of Hill House Call Vet Home. I always say it backwards. I'm going to read my notes to make sure I say her job right. Her Hill House Call Veterinarian Clinic. Dr. Wendy Krause, the Baytown Fire Department, the Baytown Parks and Rec, Houston Zoo, and many more. They volunteer once a month to come to all 4 centers to bring, or early learning academies, to bring the experiences to our students so that they get to experience what's happening in the real life connections. We're doing all this to build that executive functioning. When we build executive functioning with students, we're building a cup for learning. So we're working from day one in all of our pieces, our left brain, right brain, movement, family style dining, our arrival, our departure, our field visits that come in, our real life experiences. We're building executive functioning because that helps us and our students to control our emotions, to remember instructions, to get things done. And so we're working on that cognitive flexibility. So that's our problem solving in the moment, our working memory, and our inhibitory control, which includes things such as self-help, emotional control, and more. And we're doing that so we can build that strong cup during this critical time of their learning. And we want to share some progress, so we have some things to celebrate. House Bill 2 requires that we collect student progress monitoring on an instrument that's off the commissioner's list of approved progress monitoring. We use the Children's Learning Institute Circle, which is the CLI Circle, 3 times a year. That's at no cost to the district, and this data is submitted to TEA every year. We're currently in our BOY assessment, our beginning of the year assessment right now, but you can see over the last 3 years, our end of year. So where it says the percent on track, those are students that have mastered that skill, and CLI, through that progress monitoring, feels that they're ready to attack those skills in kindergarten. So you can see for our rapid letter naming, that's if they can name a letter within 3 seconds. So it is a rapid letter naming. Phonological awareness consists of syllabication, rhyming words, alliteration, and that's determining if words start the same, and then onset and rhyme, and that's blending words such as app into the word clap. And so we can see those are all rising. Our early writing is measuring the ability to write letters, understanding that you write from left to right, which ties back to our family dining also, and writing in response to literature. And then our mathematics area, that covers rote counting, so how far they can count up from 1 to 30 or higher, shape discrimination, shape naming, number discrimination, number naming, counting sets, patterns, and operations with pictures. And you can see we've been trending upward every single year at our end of year scores, with the exception of math for 1 year where we took a slight dip and picked back up the next year. We're also celebrating this year. We had 5 new teachers, only 5 new teachers, but 2 of those were returning to our program after having left the program. So we're excited about that. And of course, our teachers are now receiving free pre-K due to a change in House Bill 2. So that's also a teacher retention piece. I also want to share that we continue to outscore in the beginning of the year for kindergarten. If they've attended pre-K, 53% of them are ready. If they did not attend pre-K, 30% of students are ready to attack the kindergarten TEKS. But we do have areas for growth. When we look at that CLI and those areas of measurements, we look at phonological awareness. We have 2 areas we really want to grow this year. Rhyming words, and that's identifying whether 2 words rhyme, cat, hat, or dog, pig. And then onset rhyme blending. So we want to work on blending those words together, where we're taking the onset, which is the consonants up to the first vowel, and everything afterwards. So for instance, in the word cat, k is the onset, at is the rhyme. We would put that together and blend it for cat. We want our students to be able to do that quickly and easily because that's a strong reading skill. We also have 2 areas of mathematics we want to continue to grow. Counting groups, and that's looking at a group of pictures and determining that there's 5 in that picture by counting them and saying that numerical or cardinal number. And then we also want to work on operations, and that's simple math and subtraction using pictures. So those are areas for growth. We also have this year 8 new administrative positions within the program. So we have, always make sure I want to read it correctly, 3 new principals, 2 new academic deans, and then 3 new brain coaches or new to the campus brain coaches this year. So we're also growing our understandings of the program. So we're nurturing the whole child. We're building capacity and cognitive development, social and emotional, and their physical foundation, and we appreciate your support. Do you have any questions for us?
I wanted to say thank you for the longitudinal data. That is helpful. And I do understand we'll be having some research possibly on this topic, maybe by mid-semester or midterm.
That would be October 23rd, sir.
And so that research will come available. But I wanted to ask the brain coaches, thank y'all for being here tonight, by the way. Is this working? Is this program being effective in growing students that start off behind other students? What are your thoughts, brain coaches?
I think so, and I guess I feel like I can speak on that because I'm a coach now in the program, but I've taught as well. But my son also went through the program, and he went into kindergarten, pre-K, still not being able to speak sentences, and I worried for him. But since leaving the program, every year he has made A's. In kinder first, second, he's now in third, so I'm excited to see how he does on the STAR test. But he has been so successful. He is very independent. He cooks me breakfast at 6, 7 years old. He was cooking, and all those skills he learned in pre-K. So I've seen it in my classroom, and I've seen it at home with my
Well, that's
baby.
a true
So,
testimony for your own child.
Yes.
Anything to add?
Well, this is my first experience with pre-K. So for me, being in kindergarten and seeing where my students would come into kindergarten, I'm amazed at the progress of the students, like from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Just the amount of growth, it's amazing. So I am really excited to be a part of the program and see the success of the students.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? I'm sorry to jump right in there, but I'm happy to open up for questions.
I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to commend you on this PowerPoint presentation. It was visually appealing. It wasn't loaded with data. You presented the data to us. It gave talking points, but most of all, it wasn't loaded with acronyms, and where there was one page with acronyms, it was out there. But I want to make a point to that. Everyone on this dais now is a seasoned trustee, and we know most of these acronyms, but our public does not. And they come and they look at these presentations, and it's important that our public and our community get to see this and understand what it's all about. Very well done on the presentation, very well done on the PowerPoint, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe Ms. Jackson will remain and bring a new team up to complete that. Is that correct? Unless y'all are going to present on certified values and proposed tax rate.
You know, on my first time in front of you all, I'd rather not wing it tonight, if that's all right with the board.
While we're waiting, let's show off our conference.
Ms. Guy?
Appreciate it. We were referees for the college tailgate.
Did Miss Casillas leave already? No.
Who's tech?
Miss Lackey.
Who's tech?
Did Martha leave already? I wanted to know if that was a Southwest Texas Bobcat. No, Southwest Texas.
Okay, so we are loaded and back up. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lawrence, and we're going to give you the Library Services Board presentation update.
Good evening. I'm excited to be here with you this evening. We are going to talk a bit about library services. I hope to have the opportunity to speak to you about language arts as well coming up soon. But for right now, it's library services this evening. We are going to...
You're going to scroll down.
There we go. We are going to start with a short legislative update. There are 3 points we have to discuss this evening in relation to Senate Bill 13. The first is that we must ensure parent access and control of our library catalog for their students. We must also have an effective library materials challenge process, and we have to update our library materials acquisition policy. You will notice EFB Local Instructional Materials Library Resources later in your agenda. Okay. All right. We are able to be in compliance with SB 13 because of Insignia, our library management system. And I want to talk to you about a few ways that supports us in being in compliance here. First, through Insignia, our parents have full online access to our entire district library catalog. So by logging into Insignia, they can see all of the materials that are available to their children. The second point is that with SB 13, our parents have the right to restrict titles for their students. I'm going to spend a few moments talking about this one. When a parent logs into Insignia, they log in with the email address that they used when they registered their student. It sends them a token. It's a code that they can input as a layer of security, so we know it is the parent making these decisions for the student. If they were to determine that maybe Harry Potter wasn't a good fit for their child, they would be able to search for that title and with a few simple clicks, restrict access to that book for their child. If the child were to come up to the circulation desk to check that title out, the system would not allow that title to be checked out to the student. Parents also have the ability to view their students' activity in the library in real time, their checkout history, so that they can see what their children have been checking out. And in a future phase, teachers will be able to add their classroom libraries into this system as well. Right? So let's talk a little bit about a materials acquisition policy. The first step of any policy with materials is we need to curate what materials we would like to purchase. So our librarians are working on these lists of both new and any donated library materials. Any materials on this list must align with our district policy and Texas State Library and Archives Commission, or TSLAC, standards. This proposed list is then posted for 30 days for feedback from our community. Our community can view the list, and there is a feedback form provided for their input. That form has been provided to us by TEA. It is a fillable PDF, and we are also making it available as a JOT form so that parents can provide their input. We will communicate that this list is available through the Giant News on Parent Square and also through our library services webpage, because we think it's important that all of our parents know that this is out there and that they have the right to make comments and provide feedback. Any challenged materials will be sent for further review by our librarians. A determination on whether to reinstate that material to the list or to permanently exclude it will be made. These decisions will be made based on our board policy and those TSLAC standards that I mentioned earlier. It's important to note here that should we reinstate a material that has been challenged, the parent still has the right to go into Insignia and click to restrict access to that item along the way. A final list of materials, once it has gone through that 30-day process, will be presented to this board for your approval as an action item. And we will continue this process quarterly as budget allows to bring these materials up for review by our community and for your approval as a board. Right, so that's it in a nutshell, but if you have any questions, I am certainly here to answer them.
When you say the teachers in the future will put their classroom libraries in, is that, elaborate on that just a little bit.
Okay, so that is a functionality of the program where we can add additional titles, and that is something that will be in a future phase that we're going to need to develop processes for.
What, is that going to be books they've brought in personally, or any book in the classroom? I mean, what are we going to put in that?
So because under SB 13, parents would have the right to restrict titles and access to their students. So we are going to need to come up with a process for our teachers to have a way to do the same.
So for the 30-year teacher with 2,000 books in her room, who's going to help her do that?
We've been discussing that, Mr.
Are we
Clem.
just supposed to not buy books anymore?
They, I think they've given us another year to get through this phase, but then we will have to figure that part out.
I think it's a very valid point, because that's a burden for some of our teachers that, you know.
It's just another way to ban books.
We've got English teachers that have hundreds of books in their classrooms, and so it is going to be very difficult.
Absolutely.
Well, just for the record, we're just banning bad books, not books in general, the way it was just spoken.
Right. The issue is cataloging all books. For example, a teacher who teaches teen leadership may have a whole lot of books on leadership, and how leadership can improve your future. Some books, some parents may have issue with on just leadership alone. They may not agree with a certain leader style or something like that. So they'll have the option to go in and click that book as a restricted item for their child.
My question is this. I didn't know how to do something on my phone today. My niece, who is 16, did it for me. So what stops them from going, well, I want to see Harry Potter and read it?
Well, if they get it in the library, if a parent has restricted access, it won't allow them to check it out. So that'll be the next phase. It actually prohibits them from leaving with that book.
Well, I'm not talking about a book. I'm just talking about this device.
You are correct, Mr. Jensen,
I'm
you're
saying, I mean, if I want to see Jack and the Beanstalk, I mean, my parent don't want me to look at it, so I just go, oh, okay, that's no problem. I'll just pull it up on here.
So luckily there is the code as a layer of security.
Our code of conduct covers that, but what I'm seeing and hearing is this is actually putting the power in the parents' hands versus us. So I'm understanding that correctly.
Yes.
I do agree with Mr. Clem that asking a senior and teacher that's been in the classroom for so long that spent their money, their time, organized their books, for them to be required to put every one of those books in is a burden that we need to look at providing support if that's going to be required.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments?
I just think it's a good thing that the parents have access and they can do what they want to do with their children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, unless some of you want to stay, our next presenter will be Certified Values and Proposed Tax Rates. Report from Ms. Bridget Clark, our CFO.
I noticed you're all alone. Good evening, Ms. Clark.
Good evening. All right, so this evening's report is going to serve as a prelude to adopting the tax rate, which we will actually do as an action item for consideration next board meeting, which is October the 6th.
And you start off with a good picture there with a team on a 3-0 winning streak, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
They're celebrating there. Okay, so tonight, and not to leave Lee out, we got to have Lee up here too. We're going to talk about certified values. We'll talk about a bond defeasance that is being proposed, as well as the tax rates and what the next steps might be. And then we also have Sterling here as well, so had to have all three. So first of all, we'll start off talking about the certified values. We are continuing to see certified values increase. What's driving it primarily is the strong Texas economy. We continue to expand in this state, GDP growth, job creation, business formation. Businesses are moving to Texas. We have a lot of folks in other states that want to be Texans as well, so they're moving here, and our values continue to appreciate. So we know what that means, improvements to your net worth, as well as sometimes property bill increases, but nonetheless, Texas economy is strong, and we still continue to see these values increase. We've increased on maintenance and operations side, $336 million, and then on the interest and sinking side, almost $227 billion. I'm sorry, $227 million. We wish. All right.
So we're also up for consideration tonight are presenting a bond defeasance. We're retiring $15.525 million of outstanding Series 27 and 2019A bonds. This transaction will reduce future interest costs by $7.4 million. That will be presented as an action item later in the meeting. And then also on the 6th of October, we're also going to present a bond refunding, and that's going to be a refunding of approximately almost $26 million, and we're working on those numbers presently.
Ms. Clark, if you would back up and explain really what a bond defeasance is.
Yes, that is just basically paying off debt. Yes, some of our higher interest debt we're paying off, and it's going to save us $7.4 million over the term of those bonds and interest costs. And a refunding is just like a refinancing. So.
Thank you.
All right, and some definitions here for some of the technical jargon that we have to get into when we talk about tax rates. So firstly is the maintenance and operations total voter approved tax rate, or the VATR, which you probably have heard before. And that's comprised of the maximum compressed rate, which is set by TEA in August. And it's for maintenance and operations, obviously. Our most recently stated MCR is 0.6167 for 2025. Also, the enrichment pennies sit on top of the maximum compressed rate. There's a maximum of 17. We currently have 12.83 cents of enrichment pennies, which is 8 golden and the remainder copper. Also, the M&O, no new revenue tax rate, which is NNR acronym. That is just a calculation, just a rudimentary calculation of a tax rate that would produce the same levy in the coming year as it did for the previous year. It doesn't take into account items such as change in special populations. So if we have an explosion in special ed populations, it doesn't take those types of things into account. It just says, okay, this amount would produce the same amount as what the tax rate that would levy the same amount based on last year's rates. So it also adjusts for prior year exemptions, appeals, sort of thing, and then removes items not on the appraisal year in the prior year. So what does our calculation look like this year for the no new revenue rate and the VATR, or the voter approved tax rate? So this year, the no new revenue tax rate is for M&O is 0.7229, and the INS is 0.3169 for a total of 1.0398. The proposed VATR, which is the proposed voter approved tax rate, is a total of 1.07, which is M&O tax rate of 0.7450 and INS tax rate of 0.3250. You see the difference there of about just over 3 cents for the total tax rate, but most importantly, the M&O tax rate, which is the 0.0221 change or difference in no new revenue tax rate and the VATR. All right, so the proposed M&O tax rate is slightly lower than last year's tax rate of 0.7475. We're proposing a VATR of 0.7450, which is 0.0025 different. And then again, the no new revenue M&O tax rate is 0.7229. So you see here, the voter approved tax rate of 0.7450 is greater than the no new revenue tax rate of 0.7229. And that's a difference of 0.0221. Now, if you recall last year, the board opted to adopt a rate that was less than the voter approved tax rate by 1 penny. And any approval of a voter approved tax rate that exceeds the no new revenue tax rate requires a supermajority vote by the board, which in our case is 5 out of 7. So when we present the tax rate for consideration next time on October 6th, it's a really important meeting. So please make sure you make every effort to attend to make sure your vote is counted, because we do need 5 out of 7 for a supermajority to pass a rate that is larger than the no new revenue tax rate.
Before we leave that slide.
Yes, sir.
Back in June, we adopted a budget based on the extra .0025?
We actually adopted it based on .7450, which is, excuse me, .7475,
Yeah.
which is last year's rate, because
So-
we don't have certified values because you can't adopt your tax rate until you have certified values. So you,
But we had discussion that we were looking in our crystal ball and adopting the budget based on the 10725. And now the 25 has gone away. What's that going to do to our budget?
that is not going to change it because we're getting our, unless we adopt a rate that's lower than the Vader, it won't change our budget. Because our budget is based on entitlement. Now, if we were to adopt a rate that's lower, we're going to lose our enrichment pennies, and that would affect our budget.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good question. This is technical stuff. And so just to get into a little explanation here, so you can understand, there is a tax rate order of operations. This was presented to us by TASBO in the summer by one of their trainings that they had. And because I think some districts went that direction and they, you know, may not have understood exactly what it was that they were approving at the time. But the very first thing to go when you adopt a rate that is lower than your Vader is your enrichment pennies, right? So those sit on top of your maximum compressed rate, and there's 17 maximum, and we have .1283, which is 12.83 cents out of the 17 that we currently have as enrichment pennies. So on this next slide here, you can see this example. This is just a general example of Hometown ISD. They have a Vader of .6969, but if they opted to adopt an M&O rate of .6769, they're going to lose 2 enrichment pennies. And you see here down here in the consequences section, reduced revenue. When a district does not levy all previously accessed Tier 2 pennies, the total guarantee is lost for each penny or partial penny the district does not continue to levy. And then even more importantly, subsequent year Vader is reduced, voter approval would be required to re-access those pennies later. So we would have to have an election to get those pennies restored. So it's like they're gone forever once you reduce that without having an election. Okay, so how does it look in our specific example? So in order to maximize state funding, adopting the Vader is recommended. The Vader, as to restate, is .7450, which is larger than the no new revenue tax rate of .7229, a difference of .0221. The district currently has .0483 in copper pennies. The other 8 are the golden pennies. And adopting the no new revenue tax rate would result in a loss of funding of over $3.5 million every year. It's recurrent. So we would lose 3.5 this year, next year, the year after that. Because the .0221 would be a loss of those copper pennies. It's about $1.6 million per copper penny. And then alternatively, to look at taxpayer impact, adopting the no new revenue tax rate would save the average taxpayer less than $3 per month, like $2.95, based on a $300,000 appraised home. Here we're going to look at impact to average taxpayer as it appears on their bill with the changing homestead exemption. We have a $140,000 homestead exemption that's going to be a constitutional amendment in November, and all these numbers are created or are calculated based on the assumption that that will pass, and that's what we've been directed to do by the agency. So you can see in 2024 we still had the $100,000 homestead exemption, so I put an appraised value of $300,000. And then minus the homestead exemption of $100,000 gave a taxable value of $200,000. With a tax rate from last year of 1.0725, that would have had a tax tax due to the district of $2145. In 2025, with the $140,000 homestead exemption, all things being held equal, meaning beyond our control, which are increases in appraised value, that those are not set by us or set by the market. It would give a taxable value of $160,000 with a total tax rate of 1.07, which is the reduced tax rate that's being proposed, and it would be taxes due to the district of $1,712. Now, in reality, we know that the CAD and appraisal district almost always, especially in Texas right now, is coming back with increases to our property value. So you can see here a 2025 tax rate, or excuse me, appraised rate plus 10% value increase would bring the appraised value to $333,000. And then if you subtract the homestead exemption of $140,000, it gives you a taxable value of $190,000. And times 1.07, it's $2,033. But because we're funded based on entitlement, that just means the district receives an extra $321 from local taxpayers, but the state pays $321 less. So it's based on entitlement, so it's just a wash, you know, because when the local taxpayer pays less, the state pays more, and vice versa.
But a good point is the third column also is less than the 2024 column of
Yes.
2145. The new taxable value with the Vader is $2,033.
Absolutely, you nailed that point. Yes, sir. That is an excellent point. Still less. All right, so what has our tax rate history been? So since 2018, we have decreased our tax rate 27%, over 36 cents. So more than a quarter of our tax rate has been reduced over the years. Where do we fall amongst our peers as far as tax rates are concerned? We're kind of in the middle of the pack, with HISD, Houston ISD being the lowest, and then Sheldon ISD being the highest. We're at 1.07. These are the ones that have been published thus far that we were able to get. But you see, you know, a lot of them are at their maximum, which is 117. Some of them are above, which means they have a debt rate that had to be higher because they had to service their debt. So they were actually exceeding the 17 cents. So, but we're right in the middle of the pack at 1.07 being proposed, and pretty much on par with our peers. All right, so tax rate change year over year. 24-25, we had an M&O tax rate of 0.7475. We're proposing 0.7450, and that's a decrease of 0.0025. And the total tax rate is being proposed at 1.07, which is a total decrease of 0.0025. And the next steps are, tonight we're going to have you all consider approval of the bond defeasance, which saves $7.4 million in future interest costs. And then at the October 6th meeting, you'll consider the approval of bond refunding and saving the district future interest costs as well. And then also consideration of approval of the proposed tax rate of 1.07, lowering the tax rate over 36 cents since 2018. And that concludes the report. Any further questions?
Any questions from the board? Very concise. I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you next.
No questions, comments? Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move on to action items, number 7 on the agenda. Dr. O'Brien?
Yes, action item 7A is consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the redemption of bonds as just presented to you. Administration does recommend authorization of the board.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Guy to approve the redemption of bonds as presented. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Our next item is 7B, consideration of consent agenda. Number 1, donation from Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation, designated from the Exxon Mobil Foundation. Number 2, donation from the Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation, designated by Chevron Phillips. Number 3, resolution adopting an order approving the Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District property tax roll for fiscal year 25-26. Number 4, board policy EFB local, instructional materials library resources. Number 5, board policy FD local, admissions. Number 6, board policy FM local, student activities. Number 7, board policy FNCE local, student conduct, personal communication devices and electronic devices. Number 8, first extension of CSP for on-site clinical services and First Amendment to the existing contract. Number 9, final extension for RFP disposal of surplus technology equipment. Number 10, renewal for RFP contracted services and related products. Number 11, amendment to superintendent contract agreement and related actions. Administration brings before the board the consent agenda items, recommending approval for all.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Do any board members have any they want to pull for separate consideration?
Yes, I would like to pull 7B10.
7B10 is pulled for separate consideration. Any others?
I just got a question about.
If you have a question, we're going to entertain it after the motion's made individually. So what item would that be on?
7B7.
7B7, which is FNCE local.
Student conduct, personal communication devices.
Got it. We will pull that one separately. Any others? And I would like to pull 9 for separate consideration as well. So before us, are there any others? So before us, we have 1 through 6, 8, and 11 up for consideration under consent agenda.
I move what you said.
And I second what you said.
Ms. Garcia, did you capture that? Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Clem for what I said and a second by Ms. Barat-Timms for what Mr. Clem says I said. And just to be clear, let me repeat those again. It's items 1 through 6, number 8, and number 11.
Yes.
Are there any further discussion on this consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please. You're in time. Go ahead, Mrs. Guy.
And, you know, I'm sure everything's fine, but we did not get anything for number 11.
True.
The TASB updates.
No, your amendment to your contract.
It was a bump from December to January.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Should we consider that one separately and add discussion?
We have to vote on the motion now.
Yeah.
We vote it down and redo it? Cannot amend the
We
motion?
need to do that?
That's fine. I just don't love voting on something that I haven't seen.
Then let's vote on the motion.
All right. Are you calling
Sorry,
the
I
question?
didn't pull that earlier.
All right. All in favor of those motions as presented, please signify by a show of hands. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Seeing 5 against, 1 abstention, the motion fails. So with that, I'll take the liberty of pulling number 11 as well.
Then I will move what you didn't say to approve 1 through 6 and 8 as presented.
And I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Barat-Timms to approve consent agenda items 1 through 6 and number 8 as presented. Any discussion now? All in favor?
I was voting already.
I didn't hear you.
I said I was voting already when you
Oh,
were.
okay, now we'll vote. All in favor? The motion is unanimous, 1 through 6, and number 8 passes. Mrs. Garcia. We'll move on to item number 9.
7.
7, item number 7. Dr. O'Brien, would you present item number 7 again, please, sir?
Yeah. My question is.
Well, let's read it first, and then we have to take a motion.
Consideration of FNCE local, student conduct, personal communication device, electronic services, approve the revision to FNCE Local Student Conduct Personal Communication Device Policy as recommended by TASB Policy Service as presented.
Do I have a motion and a second on this item?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Guy. For item number 7, now Mr. Sampson will entertain discussion and questions.
It was just a simple question.
It all counts. I want to hear it, and so does everybody else.
Simple as it is, how have we done with this policy since we enacted it from the state and TEA?
Ms. Carrie Smith can probably report on that. I can tell you the first week was great, and then it declined the following week. But if you would like to give us a general report.
Please come to the microphone real quick. I'm sorry. Our general public makes comments all the time. If it's not on the microphone, they cannot hear it.
This is Carrie Smith, our Director of Student Services.
So I've been keeping track of the data since the second week of school. If you remember, it was agreed upon that the first week of school we would do lots of reminders, and so it actually went into full effect on August the 18th. That first week was high, and it was definitely getting used to, but each week, we're on week number 6 now, and it has definitely gone down. Some days are higher than others. I'm sure it just depends on what's going on or who decides to push the envelope for the day, but it has. So I can be more specific. I have it down to campuses and number of offenses, first offense, second offense, third offense, fourth offense by campus and by day.
Yeah, I was just curious because I know I was riding by the athletic department last week, and there was 2 girls out there. It was like they were sneaking candy, and they didn't know my vehicle, so they was like, you know, jumping up and down. So I didn't know how we were, you know, coming along with it for us.
I can tell you that the campuses have adapted very well. I can say that from what I've been told, the teachers have loved it. They're more engaged in the classroom. They all talk about the communication that's going on between the students now. They're not buried in their phones when, you know, they're actually, we even had one campus when they, in that first week, they brought out board games. Okay. So they were playing Uno at lunch, and the kids are actually talking, and that's the biggest I would say positive is that kids are actually talking to each other again instead of their faces being buried in their phones.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because I know we hadn't said anything beyond, you know, everything was affected, but I was just curious on how it was going.
I can certainly, at y'all's will, I can show you the data. I have it done at whatever you need.
If you're on top of it, hey, you know, I don't want to throw no mud in your feet and make you slip down, but hey, that's all I was asking. How was it going?
It's going well, I feel like. I think it's definitely made an impact in the classroom, and you're always going to have those students that push the envelope, and they have. I'm going to be honest, we've got kids sitting at point right now for their 4th offense, and so.
On that other thing, what I brought up another previous board meeting. What happens and have we had where teachers have given kids their phone to use to call maybe home or some other?
Not that I'm aware of. If the students need to use a phone, they'll go to the office.
Right.
Obviously, if they're ill, they're in the nurse's office, they can call their parent there.
Right. I hate to interrupt good conversation, but we're veering away from the actual agenda item specifically. But
okay, but that was part of the question.
Right. But great question, Mr. Sampson. I agree with you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Ms. Smith, thank you for coming up and sharing that with us. Mr. Sampson, your comment, I think we're going to add that to a future agenda because I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so before us, we have a motion and a second to, or I'm sorry, was there any further discussion or questions? Before us, we have a motion and a second to approve item number 7, which is FNCE local. All in favor, please signify by a show of hands. Motion carries unanimously. We will move on to item number 9. Dr. O'Brien?
Yeah, I'd ask Matt Flood to come up.
There's no questions. We just go ahead and vote on it. That's the one I pulled.
Okay.
Just read it, please, sir.
Approve the final extension of RFP 22-01, disposal of surplus technology equipment, to offer the district an approved list of vendors that can dispose of our surplus technology items. The final extension will be in effect from October 18th, 2025 through October 17th, 2026.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns, comments on this item?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Guy. I got out of order, Mr. Clem. Thank you for keeping me in line. Now, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please show hands. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing 4, 0 against, 2 abstentions, the motion passes.
The next item is number 10, renewal of RFP contracted services and related products. And that would be the renewal of RFP 24-010 contracted services and related products to provide the district a pre-approval pool of vendors capable of delivering a wide range of contracted services in a timely and cost-effective manner. The renewal term will be effective from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026.
What is the pleasure of the board?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Guy on item number
We're on 10.
10. Now I'll open the floor for discussion.
Okay, thank you. I brought that up. And with doing the time change and looking at the dates that you have on here, we approved it on September 30th, 2024, and then it extended from October 1st, 2025 to 2026. My question is that when we look at our vendors, and when we have this, is to ensure, many of this is for like student outcomes and services that will enhance, like if we have a shortage, right, Dr. O'Brien?
Yes, ma'am.
And especially in specialized instructions and also what I'm looking at is control costs and rising as our needs rise. So when we look at our vendors here and we look at what we have, and the main area that I'm looking at is where we do is student outcome and improving test scores. On here, when I look at some of these educational consultants and tutors that we may have on this list, did we have any that changed due to the fact of our improving our test scores, or we adding any new ones, and then on the financial basis of it, on our costs on this? Because I don't see that we have a shortage here of staffing, but we sure have a long list of those that we have included here. And we've talked about this in the last year before, and have been trying to be more conservative on our contract basis.
Yes, ma'am. I can let C&I speak to some of that to you, but some of the requirements have to do with certification. A vendor may have a certain certification that we do not employ that person, whether it's behavior or something of that nature. And that is one of the causes to have supplemental vendors to support our teachers in the classroom. But I'd invite C&I to come up and share any.
Could I interrupt?
Yes,
While
yes,
she's
sir.
coming up, as a former band director, I can speak to all these fine arts ones. A lot of these names are people that come in one time for one activity, and we want to pay them $100 or $200. They have to be an approved vendor to get their check. So there's a name on here I will not call out, but I know she was hired to judge trombones at a solo and ensemble contest. And that's her only time to work for us last year. So a lot of these single names, if it says fine arts, are exactly, like the ones that say choreography. They hire somebody to come in and choreograph this contest routine.
a 6 weeks routine and then they're
Yeah,
done. So it actually saves money versus having an employee charged for the whole year.
Right.
We
187.
have 3 band directors at one school. None of them can coordinate.
Well, but
Flags? No.
well, that's
just
not what even.
No, I'm just asking.
Oh, you want to see me spin a flag?
I would like to see that. I'm going to go on the record. I would like to see that.
We have 3 people that say we would like to see that.
I'll do opening exercises next meeting.
Taking a poll. The audience says yes, Mr. Clem, we'd like to see that.
Mr. Sampson, Mr. Campese, and Mr. O'Brien. So
All right,
Dr. O'Brien
and Mr.
said yes.
Campese is going to sing the music that I spin to.
Hey, it's not, but I'm just asking a question.
Very legitimate.
Because I don't know.
I agree. Let's
Very
bring it
legitimate.
back.
If we have, you hire all these people, then, but we have to also do all the contract services for something that's more money. I'm just looking at our budget. That's it.
Well,
Legitimate.
I have questions about that too.
Yeah.
So when I look on there, and I'm not looking at the individual names because I do recognize some of the individual names that are on there, and they're like mentors, supervisors, that type of thing. But when I look, and we have like 32 companies as educational consultants, and I know one conversation we have had for several years is cutting down on the number of companies we're bringing in for professional development. I know I personally asked for numbers, like how much are we spending on these professional developments these companies that are providing professional development. I never received that. I would still like that specifically for the companies that are on here that are providing professional development. I would like to know over the last 5 years, what have we spent on those specific companies? And I would like it broken down by company, okay? Because I'm seeing companies on here that I know that are not really the leaders in the district, the principals in the district don't find that they're valuable, and I feel like it does more harm than good to have them here in the district, and I don't feel like they're making a difference as far as student outcomes, and so because I haven't seen anything to show that they have. And so I would like that information. There was something else and then there was one name on there that I know that has been, she used to work in the district and she's been contracted, I think, by the district since she left. I would imagine that somebody in the district could be trained to do whatever we're using her for at this point. So. And I don't want to throw names out like Mr. Clem said, but
Just hijack my
yeah,
question.
that's what I thought.
Okay.
So we're going to work on gathering that list together that you've requested. And I cannot speak to all of the past and all of the choices that were made, but I do know that looking forward, we've really tried to transition the district into using resources that are not things that impact our budget and yet build capacity in teachers. So for example, in an upcoming board meeting, you're going to hear about our work with the grants, specifically around the LASSO grant, the Accelerated Success Grant. And part of our partnership with Region 4 is making sure that they and their experts that are learning from TEA are coming in as part of that grant funding to build capacity in staff instead of us having to pay and fund through our local resources. And so that's part of what we're doing. And I love what you said about making sure that we are choosing people, if they are going to consult, that their work is driving student outcomes, because that is a huge part of what we're talking about as well. In fact, at our AP PLC this Friday, we're talking about partnerships between assistant principals and other individuals, such as consultants, and making sure that that work is tied to student outcomes and to progress monitoring systems that ensure that when you are contracting with someone, it is yielding results that are directly contributing to student improvement. So what we can work on gathering that information that you asked from the past, and then looking into the individual that you mentioned or didn't mention specifically.
And rather than having yes, every vendor listed name, but work with Ms. Cantu in business department to find out, instead of what might be paid, what has been paid over the last 5 years to Ms. Guy's longitudinal question.
And I would add that most of these contracts are coming in that are like mandated, and that's our next board update for y'all, so that you can see, because we are not using hardly any consultants at all we do our own principal. Tomorrow's our principal PLC, and it's all done in-house. If we bring somebody in, it's usually a consultant that's required through our grants through TEA.
Okay. What about like for, like if, with, your numbers are rising for our students that are needing specialized services, am I correct? So when we have that, when you have the like IEPs and those, and so when I'm looking at these for like, let's say, I'm just throwing out, I'm not saying I even know who this is, like ACE therapy services for special education. Correct. And those are ones that are for just for special education that are listed on here, right? That says special education.
And even some of those are covered with grants. We received an autism grant that comes with some PD training there. And we also have a shortage for evaluation staff. So we have to outsource evaluation, especially for bilingual speech pathologists and things like that. Okay.
Because I saw that on here a couple times too for the, that would be when you say for bilingual, that is the
lingual.
Lingual and migrant.
Yes.
So that was a grant that we had?
We have some grant funds for that as well, but yes, that's a specialized program, so we do reach out to some consultants that come in and do dual two-way and dual one-way training in that department, and also some migrant training.
I think the concern is that, like Ms. Guy said, there were concerns from the majority of this board that we were relying too much on money being spent on outside consultants versus what we have in-house. And there are a number of consultants on here, and the information provided to us doesn't really say what they're for particularly, and like Ms. Guy said, there's no indication of whether or not we're going in the right direction or we're adding to it. So with that, Dr. O'Brien, at this point, I would ask, if this was brought back for reconsideration, where does that leave us in our purchasing department? Is this time sensitive, or could we get the information that this board is looking for? Well, it's still part of we do, but it's still part of the conversation. What are the ramifications if this is not voted for tonight?
So the ramifications would be that we couldn't issue any purchase orders to any of these vendors or pay any invoices that are pending if we don't approve it.
After September 30th or immediately?
No, not until
September
the next board
30th.
meeting.
Yeah.
October 10th.
Yep. And I do want to add, some of these vendors also, they go out there and they see that we have availability to join, so they go in and fill out the paperwork. Not necessarily because somebody's requested them, but because they're interested in doing business with us. And that'll be our, we can't tell them no. They fill out the paperwork, they complete their stuff. Correct.
And that's fine. It's the ones that we're continuously paying that, like, I mean, if you're having someone as a providing professional development to principals, but the principals don't respect that person and there's no buy-in, it's not effective. And so why are we having that person in this district any longer?
So we have not had any person come in and do whole group PD last year or this year for principals. They may have asked somebody specific to kind of their campus to help with writing scores, or we also used Region 4 to help us with crucial conversations. But when you brought that forward before, we stopped that practice last year.
So I heard that there's going to be somebody at this week's meeting, though. So not at the principal's meeting?
Do we have?
Or maybe it was, did you have a principal's meeting last week?
I didn't have anybody here. I think we had Region 4 here.
That's not who I heard. But,
yeah.
So the ramification is we couldn't pay anybody for 3 days.
Until the next board meeting when it's approved.
Right. It's
Yes,
3
sir.
days.
Yes, sir.
3 business days.
Any
What
further?
what if it's already encumbered?
If it's already encumbered, you would just hold the invoices.
So,
You wouldn't pay it.
okay.
Any further questions? All in favor, please signify by a show of hands.
What are we voting on?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're voting on item number 10, which is the renewal of RFP contracted services and related products as presented. All in favor, show of hands. Any opposed, show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No abstentions. The motion fails unanimously. Dr. O'Brien, I would ask that this be brought back to us with the information that was requested by the board for further consideration.
3 days. Agreed.
All right, and thank you. Let's move on to the last item, item number 11.
We can do the same for number 11 as well.
Well, yeah, do you need a motion or just pull it?
I'm hearing that are you administratively pulling?
I can administratively pull number 11.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, we'll move on to 7C, future board agenda items, board training, and board meetings. Grant funding, grounds and custodial update, superintendent search update. I don't know about the first part, grant funding, grounds and custodial update. Is that?
Those are just things the administration has on the calendar for the board, but we're happy to modify, adapt, and adjust as you wish.
All right, thank you. Are there any other items for future board agendas? All right, Ms. Garcia, I'm going to ask you to help me with the next one. Board training, we have scheduled the board operating procedures team of 8 training coming up in October. What's that date? October 8th.
That's a good date now.
That is a good date. Everyone has confirmed. That'll be the full team of 8 training, and I've called that meeting. It should be posted fairly soon. And then the next regularly scheduled meeting will be October 6th, 2025. Is that correct? And then also let me back up to September 30th is a called meeting for this board, and that's where we will meet to discuss the focus group results. That meeting will be, location, Dr. O'Brien? That's going to be at the Educational Service Center? Okay.
That's correct.
So note that's a special called meeting. It'll be at a different location.
What's the date again?
September 30th, and I believe that's
at
going
5 p.m. The search consultants will be meeting with various constituents throughout the day. I think they'll have 3 or 4 meetings prior to meeting with the Board of Trustees, including community groups 1, 2, and 3, meeting with the executive staff, administrative staff, and then meeting with you as the Board of Trustees, the final meeting at 5 p.m.
So this is the same date and time that Thompson and Horton presented to us. Because we will have a quorum at that meeting, I had to call it as a called meeting.
Now, the time for our team of 8 meeting is at 6 o'clock as well.
Team of 8 training will be at 6 o'clock on October 8th here in this boardroom.
But the September 30th search consultant feedback meeting is at 5 p.m.
It's here?
It is at the ESC.
All right, very good. Anyone have any questions on dates or times? Ms. Garcia, will we be posting that in our board book here pretty soon, all those dates? Yes. Thank you. All right, at this time, the board will now recess into closed session pursuant to one or more of the following sections of the Texas Government Code. Sections 551.071, .072, 073, 074, 075, 076, 082, 083, 084, 087, and 089. No action will be taken while the board is in closed session. The time is now 8:14 p.m. The board will now reconvene into open session. The time is now 10:29 p.m. No action was taken while the board was in closed session.
Mr. President and board, in reconvening, we'll bring Item 7F, consideration of personnel, approve elections, accept resignations and retirements as presented.
I move to approve.
A second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Ms. Barat-Timms to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? The motion carries unanimously.
Administration brings before the board this evening one administrative election. That's a literacy coach specialist. Bring before you Teresa Hall for this position.
Ms. Barat-Timms, would you turn your microphone on and resubmit
But I
that?
pushed it. Now I gotta say that all over again. I move to approve the literacy coach specialist, Ms. Hall.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Barat-Timms and a second by Mr. Clem to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? By show of hands, the motion carries unanimously.
Item 7G, consider and take possible action to propose mid-contract termination of term contract of Lee High School teacher Jennifer Cordemanche.
I move to propose the mid-contract termination of the term contract of Lee High School teacher Jennifer Cordemanche for good cause and to direct the superintendent to notify the employee of this action.
Second. I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mr. Renteria. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing 2 for, 0 against, and 4 abstentions, I believe the motion passes. Is that correct? No. No? The motion fails. Ms. Beam, is that correct? The motion does fail. Okay.
Next is the consider approval of settlement in East Point Property Owners Association, Inc. versus Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District in the 295th Judicial District Court, Harris County, Texas.
A move to approve.
I have a motion by Ms. Barat-Timms.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Sampson. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by a show of hands. I'm sorry, do it one more time. Any opposed? Being 5 for, 1 against, the motion does pass.
7I, consideration of approval of amendment of the Foreign Trade Zone tax equivalency and contribution agreement opposition between Goose Creek CISD, the district, and Exxon, the operator, and issue letter of non-opposition.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Barat-Timms and a second by Mr. Clem. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor, by show of hands, the motion passes 6-0 unanimously.
And item 7J, purchase of real estate.
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Barat-Timms and a second by Mr. Clem for this item. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor by show of hands. Any opposed? Seeing 5 for, and 1 against, the motion passes. You rest. With no further business before this board, we are adjourned. The time is 10:33 p.m.